Okay, today I'm going to show you how to can. The things you're going to need: basic canning supplies, three different ways. We have the water bath, we have the pressure cooker, and then we also have an Instapot. And these are three good ways to can food. The purpose of canning is to preserve your food as long as you can. Um, Making quick meals, they can just pop them in the microwave, heat them up, you can eat them and everything's fine. So canning takes out the enzymes, the bad bacteria enzymes that are in our food, which makes our food go bad. So basically, we're just killing those bad enzymes, and so that it won't go bad. But eventually, it will go bad. Just like if you buy something at the store that's in a jar or in a can, it has an expiration date, and eventually it will go bad. Now, stuff that you buy at the store actually can go past the expiration date, but um, even canning, it can go past that expiration date. So we do have some specific uh, tools that we use for canning, and everybody needs to know. Besides, of course, the obvious, which is the water bath canners and the pressure cookers. We also have our jar. I don't really even know the name of this, but um, so I feel kind of bad that I don't even know the name, but I use it. It's just to take the jars, clamp on the jars, this little clamp maybe on the jars, and then you're able to take them out of the hot water, and you're able to set them down onto a dry towel, which you're going to need. You're going to need, of course, your lids, whether it be uh, small mouth or regular is what they call it. If you look, you'll see it. It'll say regular mouth, and that means your jars that are small, small mouth, regular lids, or your quarts, which are, I have some that are wide mouth. So you do have quarts that are small mouth, and you have quarts that are wide mouth. So just remember to always buy the lids that you have, that you need. So the wide mouth comes like this, and it will say wide mouth on them. And you can see the difference here between small mouth and wide mouth. So wide mouth is used for pickles, things that you want to pull out of here real easy. Okay. And the small mouths are more like sauce, juice, jams, those kind of things that, you don't need to pull out in whole pieces. So anything that's got big, large pieces, use the wide mouth for. Okay. We also need a ladle to put anything in. You have to pick up the broth or whatever you're going to do. A funnel to put into your jars. Put your liquid in there and pour it on in there. It makes it a lot easier. You don't spill. Okay. Of course, you're going to need your rings. The rings are going to depend on, what you're using again. Your small mouth or regular mouth. And then your wide mouth. Oh, I did it opposite, didn't I? Small mouth and wide mouth. So those are the two size rings that you need. And a lot of times you can buy the jars in a case, and it comes with the lid, the rings, and the jars with the lid and the rings, and everything's all already there. You don't have to worry about, oh, do I have enough lids, or do I have rings? What am I doing? But eventually, when you become a canner, you're canning all the time. So you're going to save your rings. You are going to save your lids, because you can use your lids. Now, just hold on a minute. Don't be upset, but you can use your lids to put the stuff back into the refrigerator once you have opened it. And you could use your lids for things that, because I use my jars for other things, not just canning. So if there's something I have extra and I want to put it in a jar, it fits in the refrigerator better. So I'll fill it up. I'll fill my jar up, put my lid on there, and I will put my ring on there, and I'll stick it in the refrigerator. I can label it, or I can just, eyeball it, whatever I've got. Or if if I don't want it to seal, sometimes it will seal, even though you haven't, pressure cooked it or anything. You can just take it and flip it upside down and put it on there. And then you can put your ring on there. And you'll know, hey, this is opened. This, I have to use this, otherwise it will go bad. And so that's a good thing that this reminds me that, hey, we need to eat this. Otherwise I'm going to waste it. And my chickens will love me for wasting the food. So, okay. What did I say? I said a towel. Okay. Something to take it out with. And now we need to go over here and I set the jars. We'll go over each individual pot and we'll show the specifics. I'm a farmer. I do a lot of different canning. We've had like 8 tomato plants, ended up canning like 40 quarts of tomato juice in a year. I make my own tomato sauce, I make my own ketchup, tomato paste, and we just break it down. And it's helped our family a lot. We went from a family of 6 down to a family of 3 now. It's just me, my husband, and my daughter who's now in college, and she stays home with me while she's in college. And so we're able to adjust now. My recipes have not adjusted, but keeping it those extra, a pint here, a quart here of what I need to grab and go and make a quick meal, just for me and my husband, is awesome. So depending on what you want to use it for, you have these different methods. And also, your blue book. If you have time, if you've got the money to get one of these, it's really nice to have because it actually has pictures of how-tos. Even with my video here, I'm going to show you how to do stuff, but this has so many recipes in there, and if you're not sure, just the pictures alone, it goes step by step on how to do it. So if you ever question, like, hey, what did she say, or what, I'm stuck. You can go to my video and watch it and watch it, but if it's something specific that you really want to learn, the blue book is pretty much the way to go. But I'm going to show you some quick and kind of bypass some of the steps they put in here. And not that it's bad, it's good, but some of this is way over what you need to do. Like, they're killing it. Like, they're killing the bacteria and they're like 50 times over. So, just so you know, you don't have to be in the kitchen for 12 hours. There's just no point. And I wouldn't like to cook like that. So, if you get a chance, grab this book and look through the recipes. If you haven't, were never taught how to cook, it's great. It's great because you can always start with some small little things that you want to keep, jams you want to make. You don't feel like wasting something and you want to say, hey, what can I do with this? This book is great for that. It has very, very good, it explains it very, very well. And, okay, so on the first page here, I think we go through and it shows you exactly what's the difference between, you can see that, what's the difference between our pressure cooker and our water bath? What kind of foods would you use the water bath for and the pressure cooker for? Basically, it depends on how acidic your food is. If it's acidic, you don't really need to use the pressure cooker. You can. There's nothing wrong with it. Like tomato juice, tomatoes is the easiest thing you can do. You don't have to use a pressure cooker. And some people are really scared of the pressure cooker because it's a lot of steam and a lot of pressure, and they're always hearing the stories about something exploding. Okay, and that's just, you kind of have to be smart about it. It's not hard to do. You know, it's not hard to pressure cook, so I don't want you to be scared of it. But the Instapot helps with that. It does not allow you to open that lid until the pressure has decreased and depressurized, and then you can open up the lid. But on these specific pressure cookers, you can open them even though the pressure has not decreased all the way. And we don't want to do that. But that's the only thing. So if you're scared about that, maybe you want to use the Instapot. And also the Instapot is used for, it does like five pints. Can't do quarts in it, but you can do pints in the Instapot. And that's basically easy for people who are like, you know, it's just you and your husband. You and your partner want to go and, you know, you have leftovers that you want to make up. And that's pretty much what I'm doing. I have some leftovers that I want to go ahead and process. And I don't need to, you know, use these other methods here. You know, maybe I only have like 2 or 3 jars, you know, and you know, 2 or 3 jars, pint jars, and all I want to do is just do a quick, after I eat dinner, I just want to go ahead and put them in there. They're done. I can set them on a towel and let them cool off and let them seal, let the lid seal, and my food is good for almost a year or more. So it just depends on what it is you're cooking. Okay? And this book is really good details and things like that, and you know, you don't get too overwhelmed with it though. Okay? Because I'm just gonna show you some quicker ways to get through this book. Okay, so I'm going to take you over to the stove and I'm going to go through each pot. So here's our water bath canner. And with the water bath canner, it comes with this rack. Now the rack goes on the bottom and then you put your jars around it. And of course, this will hold 7 quarts or it will hold 7 pints. Can't fit any more than that. Basically with a water bath, you basically are giving them a bath. You are going to put your lids on here with the rings, and you're going to fill the water all the way up over the jars. The water has to be over the lids, and you're just going to put that on a boil, and you're going to let that cook. Once it comes to a boil, then you're going to set your timer, and you're going to let the timer go down. Once it's down, you're going to remove the jars with our grabber here. We're just going to remove the jars just like that out of there. They're going to be really hot. Now the lid to this is very simple. It's just a regular lid. This is a regular lid. No fancy, nothing fancy. So once you filled it up with water, you know, you brought it to a boil, you're going to stick your lid on there, and then you're going to set your timer. When timer goes off, you're going to take off your lid, take each individual jar out with these so you don't burn yourself, and then you're going to place them on a towel. Okay, that's our water bath canner. And like I said, this is used for tomatoes, anything that is high acid foods. High acidic foods is what you want to use this for. If you're not sure exactly whether I should use this or a pressure cooker, always go with your pressure cooker. Always go with it. If you want to be specific, then you can have your water bath. Okay, and have your pressure cooker, because some of it you can do and some of it you can't. So we're going to move on to our pressure cooker. Now our pressure cooker, as you can see, a pressure cooker has a little plate at the bottom. This plate, okay, helps with keeping, when you put the jars in there, you don't want them to slide around. It also keeps any, you know, your food from burning, from hitting the bottom of the pan. We don't want that. Now we don't have a rack in here. We don't have a rack. And we're just going to place our jars. This will hold 7 as well. Now 7 pints, 7 quarts. You can put those in here with the lids and the rings, and we'll show you how to do that in a minute. But I just wanted you to see exactly how it fits in here. And you also have a little arrow right here on the edge, and I'll tell you what that is for. Okay, so the pressure cooker is a little bit different. We're not giving it a water bath. What we're doing is inside here, in between the jars, we're going to fill up the water inside here, and you're going to fill it up to about, I would say, let's see, 1, 2. You'll see the lines on here, but when you're looking in here, all you're seeing is the jars. And you want to make sure you fill it up to be not half, under half, a little under half. So the water line's going to be here. You'll have this full with stuff, your ring and your lid, but the water line is going to be somewhere down here. Okay, not half. We're going to just keep it down here. And that's it. That's all the water that you need. Okay. Now the trick about this too is if maybe you're only doing like 1 quart at a time. Sometimes you only have 1 quart and you don't want it to be roaming around in there. So what I like to do is leave the rings and lids off, and the only one that I want to can will be in the middle, and we will fill each jar. I will fill it halfway with water just to keep the jars from banging around in there, and I just want to can that 1 jar, maybe 2 jars, maybe 3 jars, just depending on what I have. And the rest of them will be filled halfway with water, keeping it stable, and they won't move around on you. Okay, now we have the lid. Once you've done put your jars in there, filled your thing up with water a little bit there, and you're ready to put the lid on. On the lid, you will see we have an arrow here on the lid. You want to match that up to the arrow on your handle. So I'm just going to put that there. You can see it went down really nicely, and then we're just going to slide, and that is going anywhere. You just want to keep going until you can't go no more and it stops. See, you're going to open it, close it. Then you will see these little things right here. This is going to be your safety valve, and this is your vent. So the safety valve is there. It's going to tell you when the pressure has built up in your pot. So you're going to put whatever pound of pressure that you're going to use. The blue book will tell you. I usually use 15 pounds of pressure. So this alone is 5 pounds. This is 10 pounds. So together you have 15. And now I'll put it right on the vent, just like that. And then I'll set my stove on high, and I will allow this to cook, build up steam in here, and it will let this raise. It will bring it, it'll pop up, allowing the pressure to build. Once the pressure has built up, it will start coming out. The steam will start coming out of this vent. And then you'll hear this clink back and forth, just like this. And the steam will be in there, and you'll hear it go shh. It's building up the pressure. The steam is going off. It's going shh. Then you want to start your timer. And depending on quarts or pints is your go-to for setting your timer. Quarts I normally do to seal anything would be 25 minutes for the quarts, 15 minutes for the pints. That's my normal go-to. The blue book is a little bit different because it has like a raw pack, which is raw food. But for the most part, when we're cooking, you're cooking food already, and you're not cooking it in the pressure cooker. Okay, you're just
getting the jars to seal. That's what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to get the jars to seal. We're not trying to cook our food because we already cooked the food earlier in the day or whenever. I mean, you can keep them in a refrigerator and take them out the next day. Let's say you don't want to can that evening because you just did a big, huge meal. You don't feel like canning. So you're just going to throw them in a jar, throw them in the refrigerator, bring them out the next day, heat it up, throw them in your jars that you want, and we're going to pressure cook it. And that's what we're going to do. The other method is just like a pressure cooker. Let me show you. Is the Instapot. In the Instapot we have here, we have a little rack in here. Kind of just keeps the jars, of course, from sitting on the bottom. So again, it's like a mini, I mean, this thing is removable. Your heater is inside here. This is what heats up the unit. And then you have this nice little cooking pan. Now you could cook with this on the top of the stove too. You can take it out, put it on the stove, keep it nice and warm. You can keep it nice and warm in here too, depending on what you're trying to use it for. But pressure cooking, you actually have a button on the front that says pressure cook. And it'll light up. It'll tell you how many minutes. You can adjust it to increase or decrease how many minutes that you want. And so we're just going to add our pint jars, because our pint jars are the only thing that's going to fit in here. So this one is only going to be able to put 5 in there. Oh, excuse me. 6. I'm able to get 6 of them in there. If you can see that, we got 6 of them in there. So I've got 6 of them in there. You're going to fill it up again. You're going to put your lids in there and your rings on there. And we want to do the same thing as normal pressure cooker, which is we'll fill the water up to not half, but a little under half of water. Okay, we'll put it down in there. And then we'll stick the lid on once we've done that. We're ready to go. Now this lid is a little different. On this Instapot, we have what we had on the regular pressure cooker, which is we have the safety valve, and then we have the vent. There's an opens the vent and close the vent. Okay, so in the front, you'll see this little arrow right here. And you want to match the arrow to the front. There's a little arrow on the front. And we'll match that up. Oh, my microwave is hitting that. But you'll want to match it up with that. If I can get it to go on there. Hold on. There you go. And then when you on the lid, it locks. And the nice thing about this is that once it's locked and the pressure starts to build up, this little valve back here will pop up, and because you've got to close this, okay, you're closing it, and this will allow it to pop up. Once it pops up, you will not be able to open it at all. It will be tight. And that's kind of a safety thing that I like about that. It doesn't allow you to open it up, so we couldn't do it anyway. And you don't have to worry about anything, you know, exploding basically. Once you know the pressure is built, and this actually has the timer set on there and everything. It'll tell you exactly how many minutes you have left over, blah, 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 and it'll go all the way down and it'll beep at you when it's ready. After it's ready, you're going to open up the vent and the steam will come out. The pressure will go down inside here, and your pressure of your safety valve, it will go down. Once it goes down, it will allow you to open up the door. And then you can go ahead and take the jars out, of course, you know, with your grabber. jar or whatever you want to call it. And you can just take those out there. And I like to do this when I have leftovers. So just put them in my Instapot and let it go because it has the timer already. It's, you know, it's neat. It's not as big as the pressure cooker. You know, and I'm using the pints. So depending on how many pints I have, like I said, this is only going to allow me to do 6 pints though. My other pressure cooker will allow me to do 7 pints. So it's just really up to you how you want to do that. But you can do a lot of things with this Instapot. You can cook a lot of food in here, not just canning, but there's so many recipes. The instructions come with recipes in the book itself, so to show you how to use it. And after this, we're going to go ahead and get set up and ready to start canning. I have some broth here. I have some vegetable broth here. I also made some Thai curry broth. It's just Thai curries. That's what it is, but it looks like broth. But anyway, I have those in quarts right now. I'm going to split all this stuff down into pints because that's the way that I want to have them, so they're quick, easy, take out, microwave, you're done. And I'll get those ready and get my jars ready, and I'll show you how to do that. Just let me rearrange this kitchen a little bit, and get these different processes in order, and I'll be right back. I'm back now. I have put all my broth, my vegetable broth, in a pan, and we're going to reheat this up. And I also have my curry that I'm going to reheat up as well. And the reason why we heat it up is because we want the temperatures to be the same. The jars are going to be hot, and you don't want to put cold water in a cold liquid in a hot jar. And you want your jars to be clean. And I really want to skip the process of just, you know, water bathing your jars. I think it's a process that takes way too much time. And if you have a microwave at home, use it. And most of us do have a microwave, so let's use it. And how I do that is I'm going to take you over to the sink, and I'm going to show you here. I've got my pints, and that's what I'm going to do. Put them in pints. So I'm going to let the water get extremely hot. While my stuff is on the stove warming up, I'm going to get this water to be hot. And these jars were already washed in the dishwasher, and I put them on my shelf, and I just let them sit there until I'm ready to use them. Well, I don't feel like re-washing my jars, sticking them into hot water, and letting them boil, come to a boil, and then, you know, that whole process takes a lot of time. And I really don't have that. It's going to save me a lot of time just doing it this way. So my water's hot, and I'm just going to rinse the jar off really well. So my top is rinsed off really well. And I'm going to set these. I'm going to set these in the microwave just like this. So I'm going to put that in there. And I think I put like 6 or 7 of them in there, and that's what I'm going to do. Just going to rinse them off. As hot as you can stand it. Now I can stand pretty hot water, so. And if I can only use, I'm going to use the pressure cooker, both of my pressure cookers, I should say, because I want to show you how both of them work. The water bath is pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to fill it all the way up to the top with water and boil it for the amount of time you need. So I don't really think I need to go that far on the water bath. But for these two pressure cookers, you want to make sure you've got clean jars going in there. They're hot. Well, just anything that could get stuck in there. Anything. sure they're nice and clean. And I use all kinds of jars that are able to be sealed with a lid, with a ball lid. You can reuse pickle jars. I mean, it just depends. Of course, you're not going to be able to put them in there right away. I mean, like 7 at a time if you're using jars that are, you know, are shaped differently. But, you know, you can use jars that you get from the store. You don't have to throw them away. You don't have to waste them. Anyway, so I'm going to put as many as I can into the microwave. I'm just going to put them right there on that little rack. As many as I can stick in there. And I'm going to put it on there for 2 minutes. So you're going to set it for 2 minutes and start. Once the 2 minutes has come off, it has killed anything that is going to be in there. It has killed it. You don't have to worry about it anymore. I'll take the jars out and I'll pour out that excess water, and we'll get to filling them up as soon as my broth comes to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, just turn it off. You're done. You don't need to overcook your food, especially I have with my curry over here. I've got sausage in that curry, so I've already cooked it. So basically I've already killed the enzymes in it from before, but anything extra that's accumulated since that time, I'm going to kill any bad bacteria, just using the microwave. While you're doing that, while you're waiting on your jars, you're going to grab your funnel, your ladle, because you're going to need that to fill your liquid up. You're going to need your lids, and the lids as well, depending on what you're using. I'm using pints, so I don't need my wide mouth ones because those are the big ones. So I'm just using my small ones, and there's 12 in here, and that's plenty. I don't need all 12. But what I will do is pull this out of here, and then I will get a bowl. That'll make a mess. Alright, so I'm going to get a bowl. I'm going to put hot water in there with a little bit of soap. Hot water. A little bit of soap, and I like to put these in here kind of opposite so they don't stick together. I can't remember what I did. Okay. And that will warm up the wax that's on this lid. This is what allows the lid to seal, is there's this thin layer of wax on this lid. And you can tell if they've been used or not, because once they're used, you'll have this big indentation from the jar. And these right now are nice and flat. But we want to make sure any debris from the manufacturers is not on our lids. We'll make sure those are all that manufactured dust or whatever it is comes off of there. And you can smell the lids before you put them in the soapy water. If you smell it, it has a weird metal kind of smellish. I don't know, it smells funky. It's also like the jars. The jars have a weird manufacturer jar smell. And you'll want to wash your jars beforehand to get that smell out of there. And set them aside so that you can use them at any time. And so it makes it easier just to stick them in the microwave because you already know they're already been sanitized, they've been cleaned. You know, you're just killing anything extra that you haven't killed before. Okay. So then I'm going to let water out here. Grab my grab my lids. Put more hot water. Rinse this out. Get that soap out of there. Rinse my lids. Really clean. Hot. And you'll tell the difference. I mean, they're not like, they're easier to grab. They're not as smooth. And what I'll do is I'll just put it right back in the hot water and leave them in there until I'm ready to use them. Just enough water to cover them. That's all you need. Nothing, no big deal. Okay, looks like our broth is getting hot here. So I am going ahead and turn this front off. And turn that one on. So that when I'm done filling the jars on this, that one should be ready to go. So I will take out my hot jars now. These are going to be hot. I can't stand it touching them. You might want to get a hot pad. Shake out the excess water. Check your jars. Make sure there's nothing in them. Okay. And I'm just going to use as many as I need. I'll fill up the rest. It may not seem that they're hot enough, but they're very hot. So I'm sorry, but my hands can take the heat. So when you take it out there, it's going to be a little different. It may not be, you may not be able to touch them like that, but I can. So I'm going to fill my jars with this liquid that I have. Here's my vegetable broth. Now, if you're interested in the vegetable broth, I do have a video up already with my vegetable broth of how to make it from scratch. From all of your vegetables that you use, little pieces here and there. And you can check out that video on my site. And there's other things, like I have chili. You can do this for chili, leftover chili. It's great. I mean, anything that you've made that you know your kids are not going to eat later on, and they don't want the leftovers because they just had it the night before. Okay. So basically, what I like to do is fill it up to the rim. See this rim right here? Every jar has a rim. They have a first rim. You want to fill it up to that first rim. Okay. Then I'm going to go to the next one. That one's ready. We're just going to keep going until we have all of our pints, or I should say all the liquid in the pints. I might not even use this many jars. I don't know how many I'm going to have here, but we'll see. As I just go up to the first line, which is actually, if you look in your funnel, you'll see that it's the very edge of this funnel. The very edge of this is what you're filling it up to. And that's fine. And that's going to give you an inch headspace. They call it headspace, so terminology wise, but you don't really need to know all that. You just need to know exactly where to stop. So if you don't and you overfill it, your jars could not seal properly, you know, especially when you're boiling stuff, because that's what's going to happen in this pressure cooker. It's going to boil anything you put in there. It's going to make it come to a boil.
And it's going to keep cooking. And we want it to be able to seal. We want to make sure that we've got plenty of space, and we don't want our liquid splurging out, and we don't want our jars to explode. Okay. Almost done here. This liquid to the bottom here. I might have a little bit left over. I can do this way and then pour the rest of it in there. Pouring the rest and making a mess. I need to do that. Just up to the line. There's a little bit extra in there, and that's fine. I'll give that to my chickens and my cats. They really will enjoy them. So I don't want to waste anything if I can help it. So I'm going to transfer my, let's see if this is hot enough. Well, I see it boiling actually. Let me rinse this off. And then we're gonna see, this actually is hot, steaming hot. So we're just gonna turn that off. And then I'm gonna start ladling my curry in these jars. I'm not sure how many I'll have, but we'll see. And maybe one day I'll put my curry recipe on my channel. I'm sure it'll be there eventually. I have a lot of recipes just because I make a lot of different dishes. I make Asian. I haven't even got there yet. This is my first time canning my Thai curry. Usually I just make it for that day and that's it. I usually don't have any leftovers, but I did have some today, so I'm just going to go ahead and can that up because I don't want to waste it. Now that didn't go all the way up to the top, and that's fine. It doesn't have to go all the way up to the top. But now that we've got our jars filled, I've got 2 extra over here that we didn't use. And I'm going to take the funnel off of here. We're done with the funnel. And I want to clean off the top of my jars, because when you put that funnel in there, it can touch the jar. When you take it out, you can put them on different funnels. You'll have residue on there. You'll see what I'm talking about. So I just want to take water. You can use vinegar if you want. I mean, it's not necessary. So let's just say basic, okay? Let's just say basic today. Get you a couple wet ones. Wet paper towels. Just to rinse, just to wipe these down. This will want to put the lids on them. My jars are hot. My liquid is hot. And we will be putting them in both. I'm going to be using both of these so I can show you how it goes in there, okay?
So my lids come next. I'm just going to take what we need out. Make sure you don't get a double, because the lids do like to stick together. So please make sure you don't try to can using 2 lids. I've done that before. It was kind of impressive, actually. I didn't know I could actually do that, but I did. Anyway, and the rest of them, take them out of the water, and I'm going to let these dry, and then I'm going to put them back into my cardboard container over there to hold them once they're completely dry. If you don't do that, they could rust, and you don't want that to happen. So you want them to be completely dry. Okay, we got the lids on. Now we need our rings. And the ring's purpose is just so you'll apply pressure to the lids. And these rings I've used thousands and thousands of times. I've had so many rings because I buy so many jars with the rings that come with it. And either buying the lid separately, and then eventually you'll run out of jars. So then you got to buy jars that have the rings on them, and it's a never-ending story. Basically, you're going to have excess rings. But one thing is, you should probably never have too many excess lids unless you use them, like I said, to put in the refrigerator, you know, so that you can, if you don't use all your liquid out of it, you'll be able to put them in the refrigerator and save the food that you don't eat. So I'm going to take a dry towel. I'm just going to tighten them down. You don't over tighten them, just tighten them down enough. They will loosen up when they go in there. So don't make them extremely tight. I just do them as tight as I can get them. Let's see. Okay. Can I do 4 and 4? Oh, looks like I'm going to do 4, maybe 4 and 3. Maybe I'll do that. I'll put 4 in the big pressure cooker and 3 in the small one so that you can kind of see how it works. Okay. So I'm going to bring my big pressure cooker over here. Okay. Put that right here. And I've already got the bottom in. That little plate. I got my plate in there. And I am going to put 4 of my jars in here. Close. And 3 of them in my Instant Pot pressure cooker. Okay. And then I'm going to fill the rest of the area up with just jars that are filled halfway with water. The water will keep them down and won't let them float around. So I'm just going to take these, fill these up halfway with regular water and just surround it in hot water. Okay, so make sure your water is hot. Everything should be the same temperature. Hot water, hot jars, everything's hot. Might be able to see. Let me put these in here. I'll use the big jars. that nicotine jar. Like I said, these jars are just filling them halfway up with this water, just to keep them from planking, making sure that you're able. I swear I had 6 of them in there earlier. I'm not really sure how that worked, but I did. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 6 of them in there, just like that. We'll just stick that in there like that. This one over here. There we go. Keep these from moving around. There we go. And I'll just put one in the middle. Halfway up. Keep it from moving around. Looks like we're good. I'm not going to move too much in there. That's good. Okay. Now this, we were talking about filling the inside in between the jars with water. We only need to fill it up to where the water is not half, a little under half. That's all the water that we need to put in these pressure cookers. So I'm going to take some water, hot water again. I'm just going to pour it in here. Until it's quarter of the way, basically, with the water in the jars. There you go. I'm going to do the same thing to this pressure cooker. In between the jars. Hot water. Taking a little bit more. This is a lot bigger. I'm just going to take a little bit more water. There we go. That's good. Okay. Now that we're done with that, okay, we've got our jars, we've got our lids, we've got our rings, everything's clean, and now we're going to add the top lid to it. So on the pressure cooker, you want to find the arrow, match the arrows up, turn, and lock. Make sure you put your pressure gauge on here, on the vent, and we're going to turn this on high. Stove goes on high, and this one over here, you see right now it says off. So we haven't started it yet. So I'm going to match the arrows. I have an arrow that says open to the right, close to the left. So you want to match the arrow up with the arrow in front. There's 2 arrows. One's, I think it's one has a little lock sign, and one of them has a little unlock sign. That's unlocked. and locked. You can hear that, so I'm going to do it one more time. That's open and closed. So now we will close this vent, make sure it's not open but closed. And because we're doing pints, this is going to be 15 minutes in order to cook. I don't want to say cook the food, but in order to build up the pressure enough to seal those lids. That's all we're doing, is trying to seal the lids. We're not trying to cook the food, we're trying to seal the lids. So we're going to hit pressure cook. And it's already set to 15 minutes, but if it wasn't, you can also change it to whatever you want. Once this is built up pressure, this will start going down. 14, 13, 12, 11. It'll start going down and then it'll beep at you when it's done. Okay, now it's on, it's going to start building pressure. Both of them will start building pressure. And that's it. When we come to, you know, when it starts to build up pressure and it starts cooking down, I'll come back and I'll show you. This thing will start going back and forth and steam will come up out of there. Once that starts, we can start the timer. This one is automatic. You don't have to do anything. Just set that timer or set it. We've already set it for 15 minutes. We're good to go. Leave it alone. This one you have to watch. This one you have to wait for it to go and this to build up, this valve to pop up, and this is going and then we set the timer. Okay, I will be back when that's going on. Okay, pressure is increasing. You see this little water, it's dripping water down from the lid down. That's condensation from the lid on the inside. It's dripping it down. Don't panic, that's normal. So don't panic over that. And this one is still going on the on. We still have everything fine here. As you can see, this little valve, it's actually rising, so you can kind of see it's coming up to pressure. And this one hasn't risen yet, but you can kind of see where it's going to start popping up as soon as it builds pressure in there. But this one here has popped up. I think that's all the way. We'll be waiting on that one. I'll come back when this is spurting and we're going to set the timer for this, okay? Okay, so the valve is up. The safety valve is up all the way. Here we have the safety valve is up all the way, and the timer is starting to count down. So this should start to move back and forth here anytime now. Okay, we're back, and it has started to kind of get there sputtering, but you want it to be really sputtering, okay? It's okay, it's not out there yet. And this right now says it has, 8 minutes left, and this one will be done. So I'm going to be back when it's going and it's time to set the timer. This is what we're looking for. You see the steam flying out of there? You see it moving back and forth? That's what you want to hear. That's when we're going to start the timer, and we're going to put, it's 15 minutes because we're using pints. So we're going to hit the timer, 15 minutes, and timer again. And that's going to set it down to 15 minutes. And this one is, we got 5 more minutes on. And then we'll release the pressure, okay? We still have this going. And this one, it says we have 1 minute left on it, and I just wanted to have this video taking it right now so you can kind of hear what it sounds like when it goes off. And that Instapot is a lot faster. It gets up to pressure a whole lot faster than this pressure cooker. I do like using that Instapot.
All right, I don't know if you can hear that over the pressure cooker from it going back and forth, but it beeped. You can hear it, and it also says L000, and it is done. So what we're gonna do now, I'm told you cannot open this. I mean, it will not let you open it until you release the pressure. You cannot turn this. So in order to release the pressure, we have a valve back here, and we're just gonna move it. Just like that. We're going to release all that steam. Once all the steam has been released, this red safety valve will go right back down to when we first started. It'll go all the way down. And then this will release and you'll be able to open up the door. So let that go. Let all that steam out. And I still have 9 minutes left on this pressure cooker. Okay, once it's down, once all the steam is down, I'll be back. Okay, it's been 3 minutes more and the valve has still not come down yet. It's still releasing steam. I want to see if I can capture that going down. I'm not really sure how long it was actually going to take to release the safety valve, drop that back down. But I just wanted to see what it's going to look like so you guys would know. Because I've done this thousands of times before, so but seeing it just makes it real. So we're down to 4 here. 4 more minutes, so we still haven't dropped. The steam is still coming out of there, though you can barely see it. Maybe I'll put my hand behind it. No, you still can't see it. Well, you can see it kind of up here. But it's still coming out. We got 4 minutes still. Kind of things are going slow when you want it to go faster, huh? There you go, it dropped down. And it took 6 minutes until the steam pressure is gone. So now we'll be able to open up the lid. And this one over here is still cooking. Let's see, 3 minutes left on the timer. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to release the pressure in there, and I'll show you how to do that.
our Instapot. Now that the valve has gone all the way down, we'll be able to open this up real easy. That was it. And see, it just unlocks itself. So, and when you open up the lid, you want to make sure that you face the lid towards your face. It's blocking you from the steam. So like that. Keep that steam away from you because it is very, very hot. Move the lid. And then you're able to use your grippers and just one by one, just pouring off the water that's sitting on top of our jar here. And you can see, this one's got it on a dry towel. We're going to leave them like that to cool. Every lid has this little bump in it. And the bump, you can see that bump here on this lid. When it's sealed, the bump will no longer be there. It will be flat. If it's not sealed, you'll be able to push on that lid and you'll hear it pop. If you're making it pop, it is not sealed and it's not good. Put it immediately into the refrigerator. And you'll have to use it. So whatever the contents are, you'll have to put it in the refrigerator and use it within a couple of days. So, like I said, you can hear that going back and forth. Make sure that you can't see any bump on the top. Now it's going to take some time for this lid to seal, so you got to let it cool down. And you might be able to see the bump now, but when it goes pop, 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 you'll hear that pop, pop, and that means that lid, the air is pulling that lid down tight, and it's creating that seal. And the rest of these jars that you have in here, you can just pour the hot water out. You don't need it anymore. And you can set those jars to cool. And let's see. I'm going to cancel that, turn it off, unplug it, and we're done with that process. Now this one, the timer just went off, and we cannot open it up until this valve has gone down. So what we're going to do is I have the fan on here on the microwave, and it is sucking all the steam out. So I'm just going to touch it, tilt it. Do not pull that off. Don't pull it off. Just tilt it, releasing the steam. Now when the steam is all released, just like that one, when the steam's gone, this valve will go all the way down. And once that's done, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pour it off, put our jars over there to cool. I'll be back when there's no more steam and the valve has gone down. And still steam coming out of there. I totally turned that off. I turned it off, and I'm just going to remove it from the heat. And I'm hoping that you can still see the steam coming out of there. And the valve is still up high. We just want to wait till that drops. Let that drop down. I'm going to see if I can capture it on film here. Oh, there it goes. It just clicks just like that. Once that's down, then you can take the top off. Just like that. And remove it. I've set it over here on that towel because that thing is really hot. Okay. Then what we want to do, right over here, and when you take the lid off, you want to do it like that, unlock it, and you want to again have it facing towards you so you don't get blasted with steam. So take it off, just like that. Make sure that lid is facing you. Okay, and we'll take that off. Get our grabber here. Take out. You can see it's bubbling. Woo. Really good. Okay. Just tilting it a little bit to get the water off the top of the lids. Okay. One more. And we'll just leave them like that in a row until let them cool, completely cool, and then you'll hear it pop, 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 pop. It will start to seal them all, and you want to completely cool before you mess with them. Just leave them alone, let them seal, and then tomorrow morning come back and we'll finish the jars. But for right now, we're just going to let them cool, and we'll go ahead and just empty out this stuff. These extra jars, we'll just empty them out. Pour out all that excess water into the sink, and we'll just let these dry. Just like this. Now they're hot right now, so you don't want to touch them and turn them upside down or whatever. Just leave them like that. They'll be fine. And then when they're dry or cool down to touch, that you can touch them, then you can flip them over and let them dry all the way, all the rest of the way. All right, so I'll see you back here tomorrow morning. We'll finish them up, and we'll be able to label them and put them in the pantry. Turn this fan off. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you've learned something today about pressure cooking, and I will be back tomorrow morning to finish it up. All right, we're back, and all of the jars have cooled down nice and cold. It's the next day. So here we go. All of them are sealed. There's no bump on top. So I've checked them all. So now it's time to take off the rings. So we'll take those off. And I've got a sink full of soapy water. And we're just going to use a washcloth. And we're just going to wash the tops off. Because when you can, there can be residue that leads right here. And the rings aren't meant to stay on. If you keep the rings on over time, it will rust. And it will cause bacteria to build up underneath the ring. And then it could possibly interfere with the seal and make the seal pop. So we don't want to do that. So what we want to do is make sure that they're all nice and clean. Take a hot wash rag with a little bit of soap on it. And you just want to do the tops there. Just like that. If you feel any grease or anything slimy, anything leaked out, go ahead and give it a quick wash. Like I said, just the rim right here, top of the lid, anything that you fill on that jar. Okay. And it's sealed, so the food is not going to come out of there. You just want to make sure that there isn't anything that could grow any bacteria the air could get to. And food particles that might be on that lid from canning. Got one more to do, I believe. And then I will rinse these off. Lukewarm water, doesn't need to be hot. Just needs to be warm enough to rinse it off, squeaky clean, and just put them over here to dry. Once they're dry, you can label them up and stick them in your pantry just like this. Okay. There we go. I'm going to dry one up here so you can see how I'm labeling these things as well. Just take my towel. Let's see. Take my towel, dry it up real good. Get me a black marker, permanent marker. Permanent markers are the best thing to draw on here because it's the only thing that really stays on there. So this here is my vegetable broth. So I'm just going to call it my VB. And then I'm going to put the month. So it's January, and then the year, 25. I don't necessarily need the exact date, just the year and the month. And then I will put it in my pantry just like that. Now, and I will check my pantry every now and again just to see if any of the lids have become unsealed, and we will remove those as well. But as long as it's sealed, there's no bubble in the lid, as you can tell. I don't know if you can see it from there. You'll see a little bubble on there right in the middle, and you push it. If you don't hear that, this is unsealed, of course, because there's no jar in it, but that's what it sounds like when it's on top of the jar. And this is sealed. You can't do that when you push on it. Okay. And that's our canning, basic canning 101. Now this is just for anything that's already pre-cooked. I'm not talking about putting anything in there that's raw. This all is cooked meals, cooked soups, everything that's already been boiled is what we're canning. Okay, later on maybe I'll put up a video about, you know, if you want to do, like they call it, a raw pack, and that's basically doing foods that have not been cooked, and they have to be processed a lot longer than your 25 or 15 minutes. But always go by that. If it's already cooked, just go ahead and do your jars. 25 minutes for the quarts, 15 for the pints, and you should be good to go. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Hope you learned something today, and thank you for watching. Love you guys.